Morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for one more earnings result webcast. We will now begin the earnings result webcast for the fourth quarter 23. Our conference call is being translated simultaneously into English. If you wish to change languages, please click on the interpretation button at the bottom of the screen. My name is Fernanda. I am part of the IR team. Joining me at this conference are Marcio Pena, Director of Investor Relations, Gabriel Lores, Growth Director, and Andres Amaral, Director of Strategy, Shopping, and Data. This event is being recorded and we will post it on our IR site. The material that is being presented here is already available at the Results Center and on the CVM portal. After the presentation, we will go on to the question and answer session. Should you wish to pose a question, please raise your hand by clicking on the button at the bottom of the screen. I wish you all a good call. Marcio, you have the floor. Thank you, Fernanda. A good day to all of you. It's very good to be here with you for the fourth quarter 23 and the full year consolidated. As you know, the year 2023 was a year for the adjustment of route after moving away from a cycle with enormous investments. We needed to show the market that Méliuz was able to walk on its own feet, generate cash, go back to having a positive image to begin a new investment cycle. And it's more than probable that the company is able to do this thanks to all of Méliuz employees. We restructured the cost and expense part, a robust change. We spoke to our suppliers and we also altered the top line of the operation, improving revenues, of course, optimizing our margins. And at the end, we had very surprising results above what we had planned. Our goal for the year was to reach EBITDA at the controlling party at a break-even position close to zero, and we were able to get to 15 million, which of course is highly positive, showing what we are able to do, and we're ready for the new challenge this year to grow sustainably, to continue to generate cash and maintain positive margins. We would like to extend our thanks to all of the associates and employees at Méliuz that doubtlessly allowed this to happen. Well, this is only part of our path. There is a great deal to do. The year 2024 will be challenging with new challenges for growth, and we have to base ourselves on this positive margin and operational results. Having said that, I would like to share the presentation. You must already see the presentation on the screen. As I mentioned, we were able to deliver the main goal of the year was the adjusted EBITDA of the parent company. It was very positive for the fourth quarter, leveraged by the top line. Financial services and the shopping results were very good. We reached 22.5 million reais for the EBITDA of the parent company, a growth of 190%, reversing the losses of the same period last year. For 2022, we left from a negative 93.8 for the parent company and reached 15.7 million positive this year. We insisted on putting the last 12 months with the close of the first, second, and third quarter to avoid seasonality and to see the path that we have tread throughout the year. This was something that we did step by step. As we always say, there is no silver bullet. We have to focus on the operation, decrease costs and expenses, and of course, focus on the top line. We have the adjusted net result as well. We delivered 31 million reais this quarter for the fourth quarter, compared to 18.4 million of losses in the fourth quarter of 2022. You are aware that we have a robust cash position, financial revenues, and we were able to reach 31 million in EBITDA in the parent company. For the annual figures, things are similar. We reverted the loss that we had last year, 35.5 million negative, reaching a positive EBITDA for the parent company of 46.9 million BRL. The main drivers for this success and reaching the break even of the company, without a doubt, was the top line, the margin of Shopping Brazil. Quarter on quarter, you can see that we're optimizing our margin with take rates that are above 2 percentage points. In the fourth quarter of 22 and 23, we reached 59%, reaching 105.3 million. Annually, we had a growth of 42%, going from 74 million in 22, reaching 105 million in 23. Not less important, of course, we restructured costs and expenses throughout the year. It was a very difficult process. We had to review all suppliers. Many had to leave the company. This was carefully carried out work. We went from costs and expenses in the fourth quarter 22 of 110 million, reaching 87.2 million in the fourth quarter of 23. Seasonality, of course, we have the highest cashback for the year. In the annual vision, we learned from 420 million of costs and expenses and reached 337 million in the year 2023. As you can see, 86.6 million were reduced this quarter. Throughout 2023, we reduced 33 million in costs and expenses. We had one quarter of costs and expenses of our base. Therefore, we begin 2024 with an asset-light base ready to face new scenarios, whether they are adverse or for growth, as we expect. Another good news of the year is that after 2 years of Promover and Melhor Plano, we began to achieve better results. In 2021, we had 15.7 million and we reached 26.6 million this year, an increase of 70%. It's not different with EBITDA. We began with 1.8 million in 2021 to 5.5 billion in 2023, a growth of 200%. Thing different. Besides what we do at Méliuz, we acted on top line. We carried out several partnerships, ensured they were efficient. And of course, we worked with more efficiency in the top line, cutting costs and expenses that were not necessary. And finally, when we speak about financial services, you will see that there was a significant enhancement of our figures, and this should persist throughout 2024. We concluded the bank lead divestment. We are now focusing on digital accounts and credit cards. In the last quarter, we had 278,000 accounts. We reached 915,000 accrued at the end of the quarter. The percentage of these accounts, to be very transparent, are the migration of our own account, Méliuz, to the partnership with BV. But the large majority here refers to credit cards. Of these 915,000, the absolute majority refers to new accounts. We see the same in credit cards. In the third quarter, we had 20,000 cards. We now have an accrued number of 48,000 cards, a growth of 146%. Now, if we stop speaking about 2023 and focus on the year 2024, our goal for this year is very clear: to maintain operational efficiency, an optimized margin, and net take rate of the business of 2%, and quest for new growth avenues. Beginning in 2024, we want to grow and do so sustainably. First of all, we will focus on the growth of Shopping Brazil, maintaining the margin and take rate above 2%, and we are going to see growth in the Shopping Brazil. Innovation in core businesses, generating products that uh, create recurrent revenues for Méliuz, and of course, that will lead to incremental results for users and partners and ramp up of financial services in our partnership with BV. After the divestment of Bankly, we have begun speaking a great deal of the operation. We're ramping up the cards and the digital account. Now, these three pillars will be sustained by operational efficiency, a highly robust structure that is asset light for costs and expenses, and this will be the foundation for the growth of the company going forward. Some of the products that we have already launched, and we're seeking to ensure they become more representative for Méliuz. We have Méliuz ads with a very good performance. This quarter was, of course, very good because of the seasonality, because of Black Friday. These are advertising spaces. It presented a revenue that was 35% higher compared to 2022. What is more important, we have received praise from our partners stating that this has made a difference for the users who can click on these spaces and carry out their purchase, conclude their purchase. Méliuz Prime does not have much representativity. We're concluding it. We believe it will grow significantly during 2024. This is an annual subscription that users can make with Méliuz and receive benefits, twofold cash back, for example. We have received feedback from our users, and we have enhanced this operation, and doubtlessly this will be on the growth. Most of the users that have subscribed to Méliuz Prime have done so annually and not by month, which of course is very positive. So besides the recurring revenues, what is important for Méliuz is to show the user that they come buy from other stores that they had not imagined and have recurrent revenues to use the app recurrently and carry out purchases in stores that they're not used to buying from. Once again, the pillar for all of this to happen are improvements and optimizations. Our app is always praised, the users like it, but it never comes to an end. This is continuous work that is under development. We're always attentive to the market, to enhancements, and we receive the feedback of users to improve that contact that we have generated through our platform. In our partnership with BV, I underscore that in the last year, many things happened within this financial ecosystem. We began 2023 carrying out an agreement with BV, the sale of Bankly, a sale of our shares, and also partnership for some of our products. So we focused on the red tape, the contracts. In the second half of the year, we decided to put the app to work. The banking infrastructure that underlies the app belongs to BV, and the presentation in the app is very user friendly. It is created by Méliuz. We were able to do this in the second half of the year. And there is a third stage, which was the consolidation of the divestment of Bankly that happened at the end of last year, and that enabled us to focus on the operation. I can say that we are at a point in time where we have the best phase of our partnership with BV. We're both attempting to see how this operation works, the new accounts and the credit card, and we're planning the creation of new products. We have another product under development. We have the coffer, the yield of the money you keep. And between the second and third quarters, we should be able to launch these new products that will doubtlessly bring us more users and make sure that the app is used more recurrently. We are in a very good phase, but this is merely the beginning. There is still a great deal to leverage. We expect a great deal from this partnership with BV, and we're optimistic that we will have growth in 2024. In terms of Pico D, the international shopping, although the representativity of the cashback operation has grown, which was our goal. If we see the net revenue, 50% comes from cashback, which is very positive. Notwithstanding this, we had some challenges this year in terms of organic traffic. The year 2024 will be highly challenging for Shopping International. We have to put Picotti at the very top of a selection when you're carrying out a survey. And it will be a year where we have to continue on with the growth of the cashback operations that has a good evolution, but have the organic traffic that we had expected previously. We're quite confident with this operation, and we know that in a few years, Pico D will become a new Méliuz in some of the countries of Europe. Notwithstanding this, we do have some path to tread. We're being transparent. We have informed the market about this, and we know that these are challenges that are part of our competency of Méliuz here in Brazil. Finally, throughout the last quarters, we have spoken to analysts and investors about capital allocation. We announced the divestment of Bankly. We spoke about the capital reduction on the net amount received, and this is what has been done. We have had a good cash generation because of the divestment of Bankly. This amount has been used for a reduction of cost, expenses, and legal consultancy, and we are returning this to our shareholders as well. We end the year 2023 with a cash of 664 million. We have the 210 foreseen as divestment, and this is not the only divestment foreseen for this year. We have something that has been explained in our release, another divestment that will fall in the first half of the year. We hope that our capital will stand finally at 454 million on March 31st. The legal period of 60 days ends. For those who desire this money, we believe that this will not happen. Our company has no debt. On April 1st, the shareholders who have shares from Méliuz will be entitled to this capital reduction. On April 2nd, the ex-rights of the capital reduction will materialize minus the 2.41, and on April 11th, the payment date will be of 2.41 reais per share to our shareholders. With this, I would like to end the presentation, and we can proceed to the question and answer session. Thank you, Marcia. We will now go on to the question and answer session. Should you wish to pose a question, please click on raise hand so that we can activate your microphone. As a first question, we have Ricardo from BTG. Ricardo, you may proceed. Good morning, everybody. I have three questions at my end. First of all, if you could compare the number of active buyers of Shopping Brazil before the pandemic and how it stands presently in terms of those figures, and in terms of purchases per year, if there has been a change with this. The pandemic enabled a leap that is not recurrent. But if you could compare your figures with what happened before the pandemic, in your partnership with BV, what can we expect in terms of pace of origination of credit cards in other quarters with a base being the fourth quarter. And of course, you will take away the older accounts. And what can we expect in terms of net take rate comparing 2024 and 2023, considering not only your core business, but also those novel products? Is there room for expansion, and how relevant will it be? Thank you. Thank you, Ricardo. I will begin here, Andre, and please feel free to add to the answer. Recurring users before the pandemic, if you look at our data that we have in our reference form, on average in Brazil, a user will carry out 4 purchases a year. A Méliuz buyer would buy 7.4, 7.5 times a year. This has been updated in the reference form of 2022, and we do not observe significant changes. We will be publishing this information for 2023. We still do not have the data. We see in-house is that there haven't been significant changes in this. I won't mention a figure, but that is my expectation regarding the net take rate. The forecast for the company is that we will continue to grow. We're seeking growth, but we will maintain the margin optimization. Those 2% or more of the net take rate is what we expect throughout 2024 as a whole. Our quest for growth has a fundamental pillar. That is the following: growth since day zero has to come with a positive EBITDA. We do not want to make investments that demand a great deal of cash and that will lead to losses further ahead. We want to make sure not to corrode the main activity of Méliuz and operations that do not require enormous investments since day zero. In the core business, the net take rate expected despite seasonality for 2024 will be above those 2%. Regarding financial services, yes, I will refer to these the entire fourth quarter, and thank you for the question, Ricardo. Was a quarter for the ramp up of our operation. We have 4 chapters in our partnership with BV. The first, as Marcio mentioned in the results presentation, consisted in the closing of the agreement of the share stake of BV in Méliuz shares. I remind you that everything was being done through Bankly, and underlying this, the financial institution took over the payment. We also had work that was not easy, which was to migrate everything we had for those payments to the BB Bank. This was concluded in the first half of the year. In the second half of the year, we began with the new accounts that had been opened. We did this in phases, as was mentioned in the release, along with BV. And in the second half of the year, we carried out the necessary developments. For some time, we operated with access. We opened up cards and accounts, and all of this took place in the second half of last year. Well, that's to prepare a product not only to open up new accounts and cards in BV, but also using our legacy systems and cards, transferring everything to BV. And all of this went through banking as a service. Now, once this was concluded, and there's still, of course, some decisions that should be made, but these are marginal. We are now in the stage of scaling up the opening of digital accounts and credit cards. Now, we have had significant speed to guarantee the opening of accounts. We resolved all of the problems. We use the user experience all the way from the opening of the account until the phase of customer servicing. And we did this at cruise speed. And we truly did scale up the pace of the opening of accounts. It went through the integration with BV. We're now scaling up this integration, and beginning in the second half, we are developing the new products, the products to make the credit card more profitable, the insurance and the remunerated account. And this will enable us to ever more add products and services for the users and monetize the partnership for Méliuz and BV. A long story summarized, but we were on the phase of scaling up this pace, and we're still moving towards reaching that cruising speed that has not been totally fulfilled. That was very clear. Now, if you allow me a follow-up, you spoke a great deal about this moment of speeding up growth. If you could comment on which are the actions that fall under your control to enhance GMV. This is, of course, an exogenous factor. It depends on the performance of e-commerce, but what would you be able to do with this? To speak about the shopping and GMV, as you mentioned, of course, there are outside factors that we do not control in Brazilian trade. But in-house in the company, what I can anticipate, and Marcio can complement this, something that we never stopped doing were the optimizations in our products. We have a team that is focused on this in-house. We also have several initiatives that go through development, communication, the commercial part that negotiates better launches. And I think that all of this allows us, and this is one of our competitive edges. This is something we have learned in the 12 years of the company of how to enhance our relationship with users, how to enhance the product. It's not only about creating partnerships with stores. We have to optimize the conditions, see which is the best cashback we give to users, which are the best communications to send to users. And this is something that we do permanently. We have an entire structure, an entire team responsible for this. And even in adverse events, which was 2023 for the Brazilian e-commerce, we were able to see this slowdown of the sector in Brazil. Despite this scenario, side by side with our partners, we enabled them to navigate through this adverse macroeconomic scenario, and we created campaigns to acquire your users and campaigns to optimize their life. So it goes through product engineering, the commercial part, loafing, and this partnership with our partners for optimization. This guarantees better conversions, better conditions, and of course, those accessory additional things. I mentioned two products that Marcio mentioned. Méliuz Prime is a new tool. It was launched last year. It guarantees a better retention of users. It guarantees to the users more engagement in the system. And Méliuz asset has generated a great deal of value for our users. We have spaces because of the costs that enable us to foster communication, enable us to further develop Méliuz ads, but we also have a good margin in the operation. And the partners have detected ever-growing value in this. They see the results that it generates. They are our partners. We work jointly in campaigns. And of course, this is a virtuous cycle. And this will enable us to continue to grow without putting aside at least 2% in net take rate, even though the macro scenario may be challenging. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ricardo. The next question is from William from Itaú. You may proceed, William, with your question. Morning, Marcio, Andre. Congratulations for your results, and thank you for the presentation. I have a question thinking about the future, about that new cycle of growth that you have mentioned here. I believe that the work of 2023 was very well done, and you now can speed up once again. Now, to be able to do this, I would like to understand how your investments will be made in this new cycle, if you're going to use part of your cash or the totality of the cash left over from the divestment of Bankly, if the investments will be made in new products in an organic way, or if you're thinking about M&As. It's difficult to answer this, but do you believe you will have some cash left over to pay out to shareholders after your investment cycle in 2024? Thank you, William. Thank you for being here. And let's go. Our growth for this year, of course, is based on organic growth. We spoke about Shopping Brazil, about bringing in new products and enhancing our cashback operation further. And of course, the financial services through our partnership with BV. I'm sure you have noticed that we have a robust cash position. A percentage of this cash will be withdrawn because of the capital reduction. It's not the only reduction. We have the acquisition of Picodi for 2025. This is an expense that will not take place in the short term, but will, of course, be happening at a given moment. Despite all of this, it is evident that we will have a surplus of cash that will enable us to run the operation quite calmly. The company has always surveyed new verticals of growth, something that has a synergy with what we do, and to do this inorganically. We have always taken this stand. We carry out surveys. At present, there's nothing that we would like to disclose to the market. There's a disclosure, there are material facts. Of course, the company continues their services or surveys to see if there's something that would have synergy with our operation on the online or offline universe. And as mentioned in the operation, something that from day zero will already increase our EBITDA. Now, these surveys will be ongoing. And of course, as soon as we have something more sound, we will disclose this to the market. And eventually, the company, if there's nothing in that direction, if there is a cash surplus, and if it becomes necessary to reduce capital or repurchase shares or pay out dividends in the future, it's too early to refer to this. There's nothing being discussed within the company referring to this. And if there is no inorganic acquisition, this will be debated at the end of the year and we will update the market. Thank you, Marshall. Thank you very much. Well, thank you, William. The next question comes from Leandro from UBS. You may proceed, Leandro. Good morning, everybody. Marcio, Andre, Fernanda, congratulations for your results. Thank you for taking my question. My question is about Méliuz ads. You refer to the growth of 35% for the year. In our coverage, we have other players who refer to the penetration of that revenue in total GMV. I know you're still at the incipient phase of Méliuz ads. If you could give us an idea of the penetration of Méliuz ads in GMV, how far can it reach? And second question, still about Méliuz ads, which is the business EBITDA margin, and if it is critical for the consolidated margins. That is all from our end. Thank you. Thank you, Leandro, for the question. Well, unfortunately, I knew this question would come up, but the company still does not disclose this information. What I can say is that the revenues of Méliuz ads have gained representativity within the revenue of Méliuz, Between 22 and 23, Méliuz ads revenues grew 35%, but it still is not very representative without the entire ecosystem, even within the Shopping Brazil ecosystem, and there is room for it to grow in the following quarters and years. Now, this idea of penetration and margin is not something that we disclose, unfortunately, not yet. But as we're dealing with a product that is a space within our app, you can consider that we have a price for the developer, the margin, everything has to be posted, but the margins are very good as any publication. Anything with ads and payments do generate high margins. What is more important than that is to underscore how our partners look upon this. It has been growing in the Méliuz ecosystem because the partners have noticed that a click on that advertising campaign that we hold has generated a return for them. Users are clicking on this, and there has been a return. So we're not only thinking about margins and revenues, we're also thinking about benefits for the users as well as for partners. And doubtlessly, this will enhance representativity in the coming quarters and years. I do apologize for not being able to share more information. That's very good, Marcio, and we will witness the evolution of Méliuz ads. Thank you, Leandre. The next question is from Alexandre from Morgan Stanley. You may proceed. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for taking my question. Marcio, you spoke uh, about this, and I think you have put your house in order in terms of profitability, and now you're focusing on speeding up the growth of margins. But you also mentioned that you would not be willing to put aside the net take rate, at least not in this point of time. In this desire for speeding up, how much is the e-commerce involved in this, and which is the appetite of companies to begin to invest more in marketing tools, especially through Méliuz and other players? Thank you. Thank you for taking my question. I can take that question, Marcio. As you mentioned, Alexandre, a basic assumption is to maintain the net take rate for the critical conditions of cashback. This will be maintained. Now, what we cannot um, put aside are the results that we begin to see in the fourth quarter and the full year 2023. There are some qualitative visions here that we have been able to follow up on the fact that our base of partners continues to be very robust. We have been remarking on this since the IPO. It is a framework for us how partners foresee value in Méliuz, and we continue on with that base of partners as well as the growth of this base and an increase in investment through time. Of course, there are seasons of market campaigns and macroeconomics as a whole, and we have faced several different periods in the last 3 years. But when we follow up on the campaigns that we hold, most of them are practically sold out, literally sold out, especially the what we call special campaigns. And this shows that special appetite of our partners, not only appetite, but they work with us recurrently. And this is a uh, show that we are generating results for them. Besides the organic growth, what we have already remarked for some time already, and that we would like to reinforce, is the size of the Méliuz ecosystem where everything converses. We have the digital accounts. We're almost at 1 million accounts, but we're referring to a universe of more than 30 million users at Méliuz. We have a highly heterogeneous base that we can explore with highly diverse products. We have financial services, digital account cards, and this suggests something that is highly promising and helps us to generate results in the shopping. And there's a feedback here, and all of this leads to organic growth. Of course, besides that cashback, we also hold campaigns and strategies for acquisition. We already have a robust base for digital accounts or users at the Brazil shopping, but we continue to work with organic acquisition strategies for new users. And in our balance, although this is not expressive, it used to be higher. We're focused on the immediate profitability of the investments paid out, and the expenses for marketing show this. We're extremely aware, guaranteeing that there will be a rapid payback on this. That line item will not explode during 2024, but it's something that we have reiterated throughout the years, and it is important to reinforce here. There is no silver bullet. We're optimizing our actions, and we're selling all of this to our partners. And there is a pillar of paid marketing, which is not our main pillar, but of course it is important. Each channel, each user acquisition has to guarantee its profitability, the shopping generating higher profitability for our financial services and vice versa. Very good. That was very clear. If you allow me a follow-up, I found your comment very interesting when you refer to the campaigns that you launch, that they are rapidly sold out. When we look at GMV trends in the fourth quarter, the drop of GMV Brazil, if we look at Méliuz and Promo Bit, the drop year-on-year was somewhat worse than in the third quarter, and the base of comparison in the fourth quarter was relatively weaker than in the third quarter. I simply wanted to understand if you have some internal measurement of share of wallet of the users, where they use Méliuz vis-à-vis other players, their peers in the market, when it comes to the cashback policy. And well, my question, besides that base of comparison, besides that drop year-on-year in GMV, when we look at these changes year-on-year and compare the spread with what Neotrust reports, which I think is the best measure to look at the Méliuz market, there still seems to be a significant spread here. So I would like to understand your mindset on that dynamic on the part of the consumer and on the part of your clients, the retailers, which seem to be in a healthy situation. Of course, we follow up on the cohorts of active users and new users to observe retention and spread. These are not Google data. And what we can say is that we have not observed a change in the behavior of the users in our base. We have not perceived eventual significant changes, but of course, there is an outside impact. Despite the fact that the fourth quarter of 2022 had a slowdown, in our follow-up, we saw that the fourth quarter of 23 in the market as a whole also mirrored this slowdown without an impact on us, as you can see in our figures. Marcio, if you want to add to this, I would quickly quickly like to add that we carry out this follow-up and we have to be very careful with neo trust. It's an excellent hypothesis, but the figure also includes Mercado Libre, which is not one of our partner. Our managerial model is analyzed with each partner, and it's difficult for the market to follow up on this as a whole. Now, the Black Friday period in 2023 was somewhat worse than the Black Friday period in 2022, but we did see a reaction from the market in 2024. At the beginning of the year, we have that perception of an improvement. We do follow up on our competitors, on our partners, and what is important here, market share and other points are not a reason of concern. We're not losing our users to competitors. And if you allow me to add something, Mercado Libre recently became a partner, but they don't explore the cashback tool, but they have become a player that uses broadened market mechanism as a whole, but they're not exploring the full potential of the cashback tool. And we are holding conversations with them and with all of the players in the Promobit sector. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for your answers. Thank you, Alexandre. At this point, we would like to end the question and answer session. I turn the floor to Marcio for the company's closing remarks. Thank you, Fernanda. Once again, I would like to thank all of you for your attendance and to give you some news. Promobit, one of our acquired companies that had the founder working as a CEO, is undergoing a transition, and the new CEO is an employee from Méliuz, our partner, Dani Facundes, who has been with us since 2016. She's a wonderful person and the first female CEO in the CASH3 group. I'm convinced she will perform extremely well at Promobit, as we have other women in Melhor Plano with significant growth. Not less important, Dani was promoted as CEO of Promobit at 8 months of pregnancy. This is something I wanted to share with the market. Besides this, I would once again like to thank you for your attendance. And we know that the coming quarters will be full of challenges, with the challenge of growing and maintaining our profitability. We are at your entire disposal should you have more questions. With this, the earnings result for the fourth quarter 23